I'm gonna see it through. You want spotless, I'll always lose. Don't want love, lover, I want the truth.
In today's training session, our main priority was getting Cherokee's hooves done because they are quite long and desperately need a farrier. In previous training sessions, we have worked on picking up Cherokee's feet, and he seems to know at least how to pick up his feet. I have been told that he knows how to stand for the farrier, but we're really going to test that today and see what we can do. You'll see here as I go to pick up that front leg, he won't bend the knee, he's very stiff, and he's nervous about it. You can see that he's looking at me. Overall, he's just not a fan of the process. In fact, he starts to back up and pull back a little bit. Now, this lead rope is not tied to the fence, it is just looped around it. I have not worked with him on tying yet, and I really don't need him setting back, pulling the fence with him, and anybody getting hurt. So this time around, I go to lift that up. He does lift it up for me, and so I start to just clean it out and see what exactly I'm working with as I'm now at a different angle. I have been my own farrier for quite a while now. I only know how to trim hooves. I can only do barefoot. I cannot do shoes. But I had all of these horses that were like super skittish, and finding a farrier that was patient enough to work with these horses was incredibly difficult. Not to mention, a lot of farriers tend to lack punctuality. They don't show up on time. And overall, it can just be a really big challenge to find a farrier. And so I decided that I was going to learn myself. I rode along with some farriers for a little bit. Studied hoof anatomy, how it affects the entire body of the horse, and just learned how to trim hooves myself. And so now I have not only been doing my horses for many years, but I have also been doing client horses. When those fearful horses come in, I want to make that first experience with the farrier a positive one, so I just do it myself. Even if it takes me 2-3 hours to trim their hooves, then so be it. You can see here that I have Cherokee's hoof in between my legs. You might also notice that his ears are pointed towards me. His head is kind of tilted towards me, so he's definitely watching every single move that I do. However, he is at least standing calmly while I nip away at those hooves. One thing you might notice about Cherokee is that he desperately needs some weight. He came to us a little bit thin. He is definitely not like terrible. I've seen horses much worse off than he is. So what we are doing to fix this problem, I am in the process of setting up an appointment with the floater so that he can get his teeth floated. I've also been feeding him 24/7 access to Bermuda hay, as well as a little bit of alfalfa. And on top of that, he is also getting 2 scoops of total equine grain, 1 scoop in the morning and 1 in the evening. Here we are again. He picks his leg up a lot better this time. I go to very slowly put his hoof in between my legs. This is like the most dangerous part, because if he decides he's going to set back while his hoof is in between my legs, he could break both my legs in one go, and that doesn't really sound very fun. As I go to rasp his hooves, he is also standing pretty politely. His ears are back a little bit, and again, you can tell that he's focusing on what I do. But overall, he doesn't seem like super concerned or like he wants to explode or over the threshold or any of that. So now it is time to add the hoof stand to the equation. You can see here that I just bring it over and he immediately starts to back up. He is expressing a lot of concern here. He obviously does not like the hoof stand, and so we are just going to very slowly introduce this to him. Before I started trimming him today, I debated if I wanted to use Dorm Gel on him. However, I figured I would just kind of wait and see how he reacts to all of this, because if I can get by trimming him without sedation, that is definitely ideal. And overall, I just want to make this a good experience. And sedation can definitely help with that good experience, but being patient and just letting him be alert and awake also isn't a bad idea either. He does allow me to put his hoof on the stand, and so as I go to reach for my rasp, you can see that he's kind of moving a little bit. He pulls that hoof off of the stand, so I'm just going to put it right back on, and I'm just really going to take my time with this. I start to rasp, and he sets back a little bit, so I'm just very patiently going to ask him to step forward again, and we're basically just going to keep repeating this process until I'm able to do at least a little bit on the hoof stand. Ultimately, if he freaks out, I'm going to take a moment, let him breathe, and then I'm going to pull him back, bring him forward a little bit, and then start all over like I'm doing right here. I go to put his hoof on the stand, and this time I put the hoof down and then I walk away so that I can kind of release that pressure. I show him that when that hoof is standing, when it's put on the hoof stand, that he gets a little bit of a release. This time around, I go to do the exact same thing. I'm going to put his hoof on the stand for a few seconds, and then I'm going to take it off, put it down, and then release that pressure by walking away. This would also be a wonderful opportunity to start applying some positive reinforcement. You know, when his hoof is on the stand, I use a bridge signal and I reinforce. Right now, I'm trying not to throw way too much at him all at once. He is definitely starting to grow more accustomed to positive reinforcement, but I don't think he has fully understood what the bridge signal is and that the bridge signal means a reinforcer. And so I'm just going to fade that out right now and work on one thing at a time. And in this instance, it's getting his hooves done. After several times of me putting his hoof on the stand and him taking it off and over and over and over, eventually I am able to reach a point where I can start rasping that hoof, which is exactly what I'm looking for. And so I just work on that and concentrate on that for a little bit. Again, you can notice that he is watching me. His ears are towards me. He's definitely paying attention to what I'm doing. He takes that hoof off the stand again, and I'm just going to continue to repeat the exact same process. While Cherokee is actually doing pretty damn good with his fronts, I'm going to hold off on the hinds for now. I don't want to throw too much at him all at once. He is doing a good job, and so I don't want to test my luck by going to do the hinds and then him being uncomfortable with it. So I'm going to hold off on that, and in a few weeks, we will go to working on his hinds. Not to mention his fronts are definitely worse off than his hinds. His hinds are still bad, but his fronts definitely need more work. You can see here that as I go to put my leg down, he sets back a little bit, and so I immediately just get my legs out of the way, because as I already mentioned, when he sets back, if his leg is between my legs, that is a recipe for disaster. So I'm just going to ask him to take a few steps forward. We're going to take a moment to breathe, and then we are going to go back to what we were doing. After nipping at his hooves for a few minutes, you can see right here that Cherokee goes to set back again. Right before he did it, he kind of jerked his leg. I'll show you again. He pulled that leg back, and then he started to set back. The ultimate goal is to put Cherokee's hoof down before he feels the need to set back, before he feels the need to escape the situation. Cherokee, he wasn't really giving a lot of signals that he was going to pull back. He had his head a little bit raised, and he was looking at me, but he's been doing that this entire session. Now, obviously, he has set back, and in the future, I am going to try and do smaller increments, so I might hold his leg up for, a minute instead of 5 minutes, just so that he doesn't feel the need to set back, because that in itself is a sign that he is stressed, that he's nervous, and again, I want to make this a pleasurable experience for him. So you'll see here, I'm going to take a moment, I'm going to pet him, and then we're going to take a few minutes to just take a break, and then we'll get back to it in a moment. After our little break, you can see that I'm able to pick that hoof up, I'm able to finish nipping at those hooves, and then I'm even able to move on to the rasp. This time around, you can see that his head is a little bit lower, his ears are still focusing on me, however, he is calm enough, and he has definitely shown me that that break made a world of difference in finishing off that hoof. As we move on to the hoof stand, yet again, I'm going to give him lots of love and attention, show him that everything's okay. You'll see that his head is a little bit higher here, and those ears are focused on me. So I'm just going to make sure that I'm going slow and steady, because I don't want to push him over the threshold or make him feel as if he has to fight, flight, or freeze in this situation. I put that hoof stand down, and then I slowly ask for him to pick up that hoof. It takes a moment for him to actually do it and bend the knee. However, I do get his hoof on that stand, and he actually continues to hold it up there. You'll notice that I'm rubbing that fetlock, but I'm able to pick up the rasp and start rasping, and he really doesn't seem to have any sort of sign that he's going to set back. Again, he's still watching me, but he seems like he's at least confident that I'm not going to do anything to hurt him. You'll see that he pulls that leg back again. I'm just going to slowly go back to rasping. Again, I'm trying to ignore his behaviors because I don't want to beat him or punish him for it, because then that's going to make him even more afraid, and he's going to associate farrier work with being punched and beaten, whatever the hell else you might do. So I'm just ignoring when he does these behaviors, because he's not doing them to be mean or aggressive or violent. He's doing them because he's afraid. So I just take that moment, let him do his thing, and then I'm going to ask him to step forward and just, put his foot back on the stand and just pick up where we left off. He only pulls his hoof off the stand one more time, and I'm very easily able to put it back on the stand. He is definitely learning that the stand is not going to kill him, and overall, he seems to be pretty okay with farrier work. Obviously, he is a little bit concerned. He's not a huge fan of it, but he doesn't seem like so terrified of it that he's shutting down or freaking out or anything like that. So from my evaluation of just today, I definitely think he has seen a farrier before, and like I said, I have been told that he has. I just typically like to let the horse tell me what they know and don't know, because I have been lied to many, many times by people, and when you're training horses, you learn to listen to the horse first. So we finish off Mr. Cherokee's front hooves, and then I turn him out to go and play with his friends. Hopefully in the next few weeks, I will get him more confident handling his hinds, and then we will trim those as well. Before we we close off this video, don't forget to go and check out our books. I've got 3 books on the shelf, and they are all on a variety of topics relating to horses. We also have a podcast out there. It is about the life lessons horses have to teach us. And we also have a merch store, so you can go and get some cool fancy merch, sport it, send us a picture of you wearing it, and we'll give you a discount on your next purchase. With that being said, I'd like to give y'all a friendly reminder that all of the pictures and videos, all of the content you see at Wild Child is funded by myself. I like to do this at absolutely no cost to you guys because the world is so expensive right now, and I really just want to help make a better world for the horses we all love so much. However, if you would like to help financially support the sanctuary horses, the materials we need to make and edit these videos, I have a list of different ways that you can donate. I'm not a registered nonprofit. I'm just an LLC trying to make a living, support the animals, and help horses and humans overcome their problems while advocating for kinder, more humane horsemanship methods. With that being said, if you have not already, please hit the red subscribe button. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram, our podcast, and all of the many other things that we have available. Thank you all for watching. Stay strong, stay true, stay wild, and we'll see y'all next time.